Hi, this is Joshua Ward on ZchangedMe, and I'm about to give you a unique tool that I use every day on reading people and understanding people. But after the intro, see you in a bit. Hello, YouTube world. My name is Joshua Ward on ZchangedMe, and I appreciate you stopping by. And I know that you want to know this tool that I have utilized on a day-to-day basis, but a little bit about the channel. I started this for my daughter and with the guidance and support of a lot of my friends who said I should try to start this. I have a unique way of looking at things, and I think that it could be beneficial for anybody involved. So, the tool. So when looking at people and reading people, there's so many different ways you can do it. And there's ways you can get a lot deeper than the tool that I'm about to use. But the reason I love this tool is because of its accuracy, and it helps you with your first step. Understanding the person around you. The first step in what you say initially could be detrimental or astronomically great. And this tool has helped me, and it's like 95, 97%. I think maybe one or two times it was wrong, and it was wrong because I needed to modify the handshake. Oh, you got a hint. It's a handshake. But the name of it is, trying to build for suspense, the Presidential Handshake. The Presidential Handshake is awesome. I love it. And it shows two things and actually has two components a part of it. The first component shows dominance or submissiveness or confidence or neutral. It doesn't really show other way around. Most people are taught the web to web, two pumps, and that's a good starting handshake. But what I've learned is when people do that, they really haven't really gotten to their own yet and really into their groove. Because over time, you don't think about that handshake, and over time, your situations, environment, and experiences start to modify that handshake little by little until you start to develop your own handshake style. But before we get started into more of that, let's talk about the Presidential Handshake. Now, the Presidential Handshake, again, has two components. First component shows dominance, which is when you put your hand on top, right? Because some people, when web to web is meant to middle to middle, which is kind of hard to read, to be honest with you. But when people do this dominant thing, that's a component that you got to take in consideration. The second thing is sticking your finger out to go into somebody else's border. So if you do this, handshake to handshake, if somebody does that, that's showing that you're going past your border into somebody else's world, which shows confidence. Again, this is not a conscious thing. You can make it conscious, but most people don't understand this, and they're doing this innately over time. Now, how could this be beneficial for you understanding this? Now, let's go to the dominant side of this perspective. Now, dominant, all right? If you're dominant in that perspective, or somebody comes up, shake your hand, they're dominant. Now you can kind of know a little bit of the insight. Now again, this is over time they have slowly tilted their hand around to make sure they are expressing dominance for whatever reason, which means you have to kind of understand where you are. Now, if you're a president and a president, then a dominant person should be trying to balance it out to equalize that strength if they can, because that's gonna show respect. But if you have a president that's doing that, and then you have a middle management person, then you being submissive and actually approaching that person submissively, you're gonna feed into what they want, and then they'll start to like and trust you more because you are quote unquote in your place. So understanding that is really beneficial. Now, confidence too. So people who do this, again, there's not a negative towards it. It just gives you more insight if people do it, shows how confident they are as individuals. And so that helps you understand a lot of different things. It means that if they're confident, then you can maybe do a little more jokes with that individual. You can be able to understand that what they're coming off usually has some experience in some form or fashion. And so that was exudes those confidence. So you can use those tools to your advantage from that aspect. All right. So now let's look at it from the other way around. Now let's say somebody did this. Why would they do that? I usually see people do that when they're in some type of service industry or in sales. And usually sales are usually more exaggerated depending on how long you're in. Now, my dad has been in sales for 40 years and he does this, like almost completely on top. Now, consciously he doesn't know he's even doing it, but he's been doing it for so many years that each deal that he did, each deal, he started seeing a pattern subconsciously over time, and eventually he started tilting over the years, over the decades, to a point where he's doing this. All right, because he subconsciously understands that he gets more positive results this way than he does and then he doesn't. Now, subconscious perspective, I mean, I did another channel which is called the 3 fundamentals. One of the fundamentals is understanding the difference between conscious and subconscious. Please check it out. I'm not going into detail with it, but it really explains how powerful your subconscious is, and it's really good information to know, definitely if you want to start making changes in your life. Other way around. So, but what if the person's in servant industry, like they're a pastor and they're, well, it depends on what the pastor is, but say there's a servant leader, and if you try to stroke somebody's ego and submit into that individual, submit might be okay, but you start to stroke that person's ego, they're gonna be like, why are you doing it? Sales is the same way, because of why are you doing it? Because I think about in sales, the reason why they're doing that is because if you are on top, subconsciously you will feel dominant. The more dominant you feel, the more in control you'll be. And the more in control you will be, the more you will buy. And so it's just a psychological thing that people do. Again, most people don't understand this, so they're not doing this to you. It's just over time they just understand what works and doesn't work. So there's a lot of benefits with understanding these things in different ways. And another way that I use this in sometimes to start conversations at lunches and dinners, like that are friendly and there's people I know, because it helps build relationships, also displays some type of knowledge, and it's a nice icebreaker too, because not many people know this, and so it's a really cool fact that people can use and not use. But I really use it just to read people. It's like phenomenal. So the other perspective is just, there's some caveats you got to take in this perspective, is men and women, right? So if I am a dominant leader and I'm seeing a lady and I give them a confident handshake, which is the finger going past the border, that can make that lady feel uncomfortable because you're going past your borders and somebody else. So you really got to be careful about that in general. Now, if you're going in an interview and it's a lady and you're doing it as a whole different ball game, they'll probably respect that. And the one thing I've learned lastly about a pitfall is keep it to yourself. When I first kind of figured this out, I was like, this is cool. And I'll tell people when I'm doing it. I know it sounds stupid, and it was stupid. Just keep that trash to yourself and use it to your benefit and use it accordingly. When you start to say what's going on, if you start reading people in general, people feel uncomfortable. Then they start to deny, and then they feel awkward around you, and then it's not cool. So when you're reading people in general, if any of the channel or any of the content I talk about in the future, please keep it to yourself. And please have integrity. Don't try to take advantage of people with these things. It's all about the intent. And sometimes I'm using this tool to help people feel more confident and build relationships with people, not in a way to manipulate people in the perspective. And you know what you're doing with the intention. So, so this will have more information on this channel, and I want to be able to continue giving more content. So please give feedback, comments on the bottom, and tell me if you like this, if it was beneficial, if you heard anything else with a presidential handshake or any other benefits that you've seen. We'd love to hear and see in the comments. And please like and subscribe. I want to continue bringing more content, which I will do, and I will want to make sure I build this community properly. And I really can't do that without you guys. And if I want to get better, I need your feedback. Again, Benjamin Franklin said, love your critics because they show you your flaws. And I know I have a lot of them, and I want you to just pick them out so I can work on ways of improving little by little. So thank you again for stopping by. You can listen to the outro, and I'll see you next time. And I think the next video will probably be single dad information. think it's gonna be something like that. It's gonna be more about, I think, about single dad and respecting single moms, and I believe so. We'll see. But stay tuned next time. Thank you again, and have a nice day. Have a blessed day. Be safe, and love your kids if you have them. All right, they need it. All right, peace.